Hello, Grapperinos, and welcome to another exciting episode of Probably Next Week on Raw. I'm Bryon, and I'm once again joined by a disappointed, mad, I don't know what emotion is on this man after witnessing LA Knight lose once again. Mike, say hello, Mike.
Yes, I am. I'm actually more upset than I am mad, just because of the fact that he tapped out, which is honestly probably the worst outcome for him that you could have had in that match.
Oh, he tapped
If he
out.
got if he did, he tapped out. He didn't get knocked out. He got tapped out. I would have thought maybe he gets KO'd by a sleeper, or he loses by a pinfall, or maybe he loses thanks to Jey Uso. But him tapping out to a STF from Gunther was probably the worst possible outcome for LA Knight in that situation. And I really don't know how he recovers from this because you tapped out, man. Like there's nothing like how do
Yeah,
you recover from this situation? So I think now he had he had his run, but he's now permanently in the jobber tier, and I don't think anything short of a Money in the Bank win or a Rumble win is going to save his career at this point.
it's over, is what you're
It's
saying.
not entirely over, but it will take a momentous amount of effort for him to get back to contender status at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and also it was kind of obvious that Gunther would win, seeing as how he was kind of dominant throughout the whole tournament. So yeah, this whole tournament has been predictable. Even if they give LA Knight some wins in the tournament and put him on the finals, it doesn't matter because if he wins, he loses to Gunther. If he loses, he loses. So it's like whatever. But yeah, what a loss for LA Knight once again, our golden jobber. Maybe until I don't know, someone else takes the spot, but I don't know. I don't see any other golden jobber for this month so far than LA Knight. But although we may do a golden jobber of the year, we may do that award when we head into the year end, which should be fun. One for SmackDown and one for Raw. If you want, Mike, we could do that. But instead of doing the golden jobber for the month, we'll just do one for the year. But anyway, we will book this next episode of Monday Night Raw as we head into Saturday night's main event. As we always do on the show, we book the next episode of Monday Night Raw, and we do it according to these rules. And I don't think they're sticking with the whole brand split thing, so the first rule is still crossed out. Otherwise, the rest are in play. Basically, how the show is, well, we'll give you what we got from last week, and then we will give you our predictions and bookings for the next episode of Monday Night Raw, according to the rules. And then we watch the actual next episode of Monday Night Raw and score our predictions and bookings according to this scoring system. And then we give you our points on the next episode of the show, and then we do the whole thing over again. So, points from last week. I have a 9.5. It was a good week, but could have gone better. I got 9.5 due to the Vision appearance. Again, 1 point for each member. I got the Judgment Day appearance as well. I think that's the majority of my points. As for who wins, I only had Gunther and Dragon Lee winning the respective matches, and of course, Dragon Lee is partnered up with AJ Styles. So I just had Dragon Lee and AJ Styles 1 point because I guess they're a tag team, and then Gunther winning, which is 1 additional point. And what'd you get, Mike?
Yes, I got most of my points from Dominic Mysterio's promo showing up with the rest of the Judgment Day, and also the Vision showing up as well on the show.
All right. Well, there you go. We will now move into what is announced for the show. I think these are the ones. We have a promo from the winner The last time is now tournament, as if you haven't already gathered from our earlier conversation. Gunther. We have Dragon Lee and AJ Styles taking on the War Raiders for the Tag Team Championships. And we have Rey Mysterio versus Finn Balor. And so, without further ado, let's book this thing and get to my version of the show first as CM Punk walks to the ring. CM Punk says the usual, isn't it alive or great to be alive on a Monday night in a city or what? Or whatever catchphrase he does now. He cuts a promo on Braun Breaker and what he said last week. He says that Braun doesn't have the guts to take the title away from him because he always has the Vision with him. If he was an actual man, he would do it all by himself. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. He'll just roast Braun Breaker. Calls him a second-rate Steiner, I guess. But he gets interrupted by Jey Uso. Yes, Jey Uso from last week. Jey Uso is big mad from last week. And Punk asks him why he is here. Why are you out here? And Jey Uso, instead of responding, he beats his ass. And that sets up the main event. So, what I'm having Jey Uso play here is just an angry man that is probably transitioning to being a heel. I think that, the whole thing about maybe Roman should have the titles instead. I think Roman is not going to show up at the show. And instead, Jey is just going to internalize that for a little bit. But I think that they'll still put Jey Uso or try to in that main event spot one last time. Only this time, Jey is going to act edgier or a little more heelish. And then, it will lead to Jey Uso versus CM Punk for the title. And, well, this will be a non-title match for the main event. But eventually, it will be setting up that. And Jey Uso loses. He loses his shit. And just starts. We start turning him heel, boys. No yeet. Start diversifying your goddamn moveset. And, yeah. Meanwhile, CM Punk can probably go up against the rest of the division. And kind of, get another partner, I suppose, in trying to depose the Vision. Stuff like that. So, we have a backstage segment where Punk just goes to Adam Pearce and says, you know what? If Jey Uso wants a match with me tonight, then go ahead. And Adam Pearce says, alright, fine, it's official. There you go. Main event. Jey Uso versus CM Punk in a non-title match. We will head to Kabuki Warriors versus Rhea, Ripley, and Io Sky. I think this show will be a heavy women's tag team kind of show. So I put a bunch of women's tag team matches here. This is one of them. We're going to have Kabuki Warriors win by pinfall, and we're going to establish Kabuki Warriors as maybe the next in line for the women's tag team championships, although I'm saying that they probably already have it. I don't know why I said that. But champions, they need to be champions, and they need to be established as champions. So I'm going to have the Kabuki Warriors be here, the winners, and yeah, we're going to have them establish dominance by beating up Rhea and Io after the match. And there you go. Moving on, Rey Mysterio versus Finn Balor. Finn Balor wins because of a distraction from Logan Paul. Now, if you remember last week, there was a segment between Rey Mysterio and Logan Paul about the Intercontinental Championship. Rey Mysterio says that he wants to remove the Intercontinental Championship from, what is his name? Dominic Mysterio. And Logan Paul says no, it should be part of the division. And the two cause a scuffle. I think it will lead to Rey Mysterio versus Logan Paul. Either the episode after this or at Saturday night's main event at a triple threat match between Rey Mysterio, Logan Paul, and Dominic Mysterio. I'm kind of leaning more towards the triple threat aspect. but just to, add the additional star power. But yeah, I think it will probably lead to that triple threat match, and Logan Paul will intervene and cause Rey Mysterio that loss. Moving on to the tag team championships between AJ Styles and Dragon Lee as they take on the War Raiders. And I'm gonna have AJ Styles and Dragon Lee win by pinfall. After the match, we have the New Day come out and challenge them for a match for the tag team championships, either next episode after this or at Saturday Night's main event. I'm leaning more towards the next episode after this. And AJ Styles and Dragon Lee accept, and that's where we'll have that match. Gunther comes to the ring next. He talks about John Cena. He cuts a promo, says he is not good as he says he is. Gunther is the best wrestler. He will out-wrestle John Cena. He will pin John Cena. He will submit John Cena. He will make sure that John Cena will be just like Goldberg. He will be retired, and he will be given a 2-minute speech that will be cut off by ESPN. And he is then shown John Cena will not appear on this Raw. So we get a recorded video package from Cena himself. He says that he heard what Gunther said and that he wants him to bring his best so then he can beat him at his best. He says that he will never let the fans down. This time, he lost against Dom, but you know what? He will try to not lose against Gunther, and that he will ride into the sunset with the cap on his head and fans looking up at him as a hero and not as a defeated man. And he does his, if you want some, come get some kind of thing. And Gunther replies he will and exits the ring. And that's that segment. Will Cena lose to Gunther? Good question. I've heard some people say that Cena might lose against Gunther. I've heard some people say that Cena shouldn't lose against Gunther because it will betray the sense that Cena is kind of like treated as a hero to the people. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I honestly think that if Cena really wants to get someone over, he will have to lose. However, maybe WWE will try their best to protect Cena in any way they can. So maybe have a finish where, Cena takes multiple finishers and then he gets tapped out. Something like that. But I don't know. I don't know if Cena wins his final match. Honestly, if I was looking into WWE and their booking, I would probably guess that Cena would lose his final match. Just get on a losing streak and just say, you know what? I think it's time to hang my boots up. I am too old for this. I am getting beat by the new stars. I'm out of here. Goodbye. and that's his goodbye speech. I think that's what they're gonna do. I think they're gonna try to build Gunther up because next year we got Gunther versus Brock Lesnar, and they want to make sure that Gunther has that resume of look at the top stars that Gunther beat, and we'll have that match against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. So yeah, I think that's what will happen. Moving on to another women's tag team match, Lyra Valkyria and Bayley takes on Roxanne and Raquel of the Judgment Day. And I'm going to have Lyra and Bayley win despite a distraction from Liv Morgan. Because, Liv Morgan is facing Stephanie Vaquer, so we're going to have Stephanie Vaquer sort of show up and just attack Liv Morgan. And that will set up their rivalry for the rest of the month, I suppose. And then after the match, we're gonna have Lyra and Bayley sort of cut a promo about the women's tag team division and saying that We want those titles from the Kabuki Warriors. And the Kabuki Warriors show up and they face off in that sort of way. So that's that, I guess. I don't know. We'll move on to CM Punk versus Jey Uso, and we're gonna have it end in a DQ as Braun Breaker shows up with the Vision, and they attack both Punk and Uso. We have Jimmy Uso come out to try to help, but the Vision overwhelm him, and the Vision are on top as the show goes off the air. So we're also gonna have the tension sort of go up between Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso. Basically, Jey doesn't need any help anymore. Jimmy keeps intervening because, well, that's his brother. And yeah, I think it'll go to a head. Obviously, they'll probably want to turn Jey heel. And if Jey has to turn heel, then Jimmy either has to break away from him or also turn heel and be Jey's sort of supposed kind of unwilling helper, I guess, to help Jey Uso win his matches and so forth. So, yeah, that's it, I guess. Any questions?
So you really think that they are? Jeez, you really think they're going to actually give the win to Gunther because you want Cena to like go out as like on a losing streak?
I think so. I think not. Yeah. So I think in their minds they want to establish Gunther as the next sort of, as we said earlier, legend killer. And in order to cement him as a legend killer, he killed off Goldberg, and now he killed off Cena. So that's enough of a resume to be like, okay, well, who's next for Gunther? Probably Brock Lesnar, right? So
I don't know if Brock is going to retire. I mean, that could be good. I think I think it might be Randy Orton, honestly, for him to go after next. But or AJ Styles. I mean, AJ Styles is retiring next year, so
yeah. Well, Randy Orton is on a milk carton. No one knows where he is. He's on SmackDown, apparently.
He's on a literal milk carton because if you look at the tickets for SmackDown, he's like listed as a featured superstar on every show, but he never shows up. So I think they're doing that as like, hey, have you seen him? We don't know where Randy Orton is. Like, can you please find him?
They should just get a bunch of posters saying like where is Randy Orton? If you see him, call this number. that would be great. But yeah, Randy Orton is nowhere to be found. I think he comes back at the Royal Rumble next year, maybe, along with Chris Jericho and a couple other people, I guess. But I think for a WrestleMania match, I think they're looking for Brock Lesnar versus Gunther. I think that's what they're looking for. And honestly, I wouldn't mind that. It was supposed to be a match in 2023, but, legal trouble happened, so they had to kind of scramble. But now that they got that sorted out, they could probably trot out Brock Lesnar to go up against Gunther this next year and see how that works. As for AJ Styles, that could be later in the year, maybe the last match as well. So my frame of mind is that they would want to establish Gunther as a legend killer and someone who is like, I'm better than the people from the past. Let me just end them. And that's it, right? And we already saw that with Goldberg. So I think Gunther is going to win here against Cena. If Cena wins, then I think the fans are going to be happy about it. But I think that this should be the match where Gunther is built up, because he is going to be obviously part of the future, especially coming into the new year. So yeah, that's what I think. I think Gunther is going to win here. Any other All right, any other questions before we move on to your card?
Is it me, or has the women's tag team division suddenly become like actually good after a long period of being kind of mid?
I think that's because I don't want to be I don't want to be a conspiracy nut, but I think that may be because they looked at AEW and, and their division. I guess it's a response to that, maybe, if I'm willing to guess. But yeah, it seemed kind of jarring to me that they would now focus on the women's tag team division after laying them off for so long. They're just like, oh, yeah, I guess we'll do it now. I guess we'll push the women's tag teams. Yeah, we'll make that important now. Okay, I guess. You've kind of treated them as unimportant for this long, so now it's kind of weird that you're now treating them as important. But
Now that Netflix technically owns both the streaming rights for WWE and AEW, but
yeah, that too.
well, not yet. We're not confirmed. We don't know if the deals went through yet, but I think you were telling me that the AEW is probably going to switch their streaming rights provider, so they might go over to Prime or Apple TV, one of those two other players in the business. So,
Oh, well, if they go on Prime, then that'll be easier for me. I get to see Big Boom AJ for for a more convenient platform. Let's just say, but yeah, I think I don't want to be a conspiracy nut, but it's probably due to AEW. But we shall see how long they'll keep up with the charade and move back to treating them as unimportant. But yeah, all right,
all right,
okay. I guess we'll move on to your card then.
yes,
All right,
my card time.
starting off with
We have Liv Morgan coming out with the rest of the Judgment Day. She comes out and says that the Judgment Day are back. Surprisingly, she doesn't have a problem with Roxanne coming in. I thought that was going to be a problem, but I guess not. And she basically challenges Stephanie to a match at Saturday night's main event for the women's heavyweight title or world championship or whatever it's called.
a women's world championship.
Yes. Yep.
Do you think she gets it back?
Uh I don't think so.
Again, this is like Gunner versus Gunner, so I don't really know.
Yeah, this really it really is a Gunner versus Gunner. It is really the Gunner championship. But I would probably say maybe thanks to Judgment Day interference, because I mean, again, Stephanie really hasn't been a force on Raw at all because she just like she can't cut promos. And the thing with the main champion on the show is supposed to be involved in a lot of the main event stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like CM Punk is involved with a lot of the main event stuff on Raw. Cody Rhodes is involved with a lot of the main event stuff on SmackDown. On SmackDown, the women's champion right now, Jade Cargill, kind of ish. But it feels like for the women so far, they're kind of like siloed into one feud at a time for them. And it's like,
Yeah.
I get that, but you know, the whole thing of being the main champion, you're supposed to be the face of the show, and if you're only showing up at one segment to feud with one person, it kind of defeats the whole purpose of you being a champion. And I think Liv can handle that much better because she can actually cut promos. No offense to Stephanie, but she can't really speak English that well. So I think she wins it. I think Liv wins it back, and yeah.
You're saying that Liv speaks to the Gunners more than Stephanie, therefore she wins.
Sure. I'd say so. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense to me, I guess. I don't really know. We'll move on from that then to
Rey Mysterio versus Finn Balor. I think Finn Balor wins this one thanks to Judgment Day interference. I'm thinking Judgment Day have a lot of fingerprints all over this episode of Raw here. And I think this is 50-50 booking. So what happens here is that Finn wins by a Judgment Day interference. Rey then beats JD McDonough next week, and then he probably beats Finn again at some point. And then ends up going after Dominic. I could actually see Ray winning here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to switch my prediction here on the fly. I think Ray wins this. I think you're right. I think this is building up to a IAC title fight between Ray and Dom. And I think what happens here is my original ending was that Ray loses, but he's saved for a beatdown by AJ Styles and Dragon Lee. I think what happens here is that AJ Styles and Dragon Lee come out and save Ray from interference, and Ray's able to wrap this up and beat Pin Balor via pinfall. So,
All right. And you're saying that Rey Mysterio gets the Intercontinental Championship from Dom?
I would like for him to.
Yeah.
But for some reason, Dominic has this unspoken aura.
The people like Eddie Guerrero light, you know?
Yeah,
He
the
kinda
thing about
has
Eddie
that
Guerrero is like
personality.
he could back up Eddie could back up his shit talking because he was like built like a brick shit house. I mean, yeah, he was obviously on the sauce, but like he was built like a brick shit house, and he could back up the talk that he was going. Like Dominic is built like a string bean.
It's all those chicken nuggets, man. He's on that chicken nugget diet.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he holds it for a little bit longer until they get a very definitive person to take it away from him. Um, so
Yeah.
maybe a Bronson Reed. Maybe.
Oh yeah, Bronson Reed, yeah. Well, Bronson Reed
Yes.
is a heel, and Dom is also a heel. So not sure who to cheer here, but yeah, I I think I also think they're gonna give it to Dom on this one. However, you're kind of running out of faces at this point for Dom to kind of face for his title. Like, who else do you have on Monday Night Raw to, have Dom face at this point? Not a lot. So maybe El Grande Americano, but like, is he a heel or a face at this point? Not sure. But yeah, I I don't know how long they can keep up with Dom having that title, but part of me thinks that Dom is gonna have that. But I do think it'll be more beneficial for Ray to hold it, just so that there are heels out there that can face Ray for the title. So anyway, we'll move on from that to
World Tag Team titles between Dragon Lee and AJ Styles and the War Raiders. I think Dragon Lee and AJ Styles retain their titles here. I don't know where they go next with this because I mean, there's not really many other people they can fight other than maybe the Judgment Day again. Or the New Day, but I think they end up giving these titles up probably at the Rumble at some point. So I don't know who it'll be. Maybe an NXT team, maybe the New Day again, maybe the Judgment Day. I don't know.
the N or not, not NWO, the fucking LWO.
LWO? Are they still? I thought they were in AAA. I thought they were mostly in AAA now.
Yeah, I think they're in AAA. Remember when they were in
Yeah.
SmackDown and then they disappeared? That's kind of weird. But yeah, no, I don't care about this honestly. There's not a lot of tag teams on Raw, so I don't know what they're doing at this point. So yeah, we'll move on then to
A CM Punk promo. CM Punk comes out and talks about the challenge that Braun Breaker has laid out for him. If you saw, it was confirmed by Paul Heyman that he would be fighting Braun Breaker on the January 5th Raw, which he named as the anniversary of Raw on Netflix, which is a weird shout
oh
out,
my
but
god,
okay. Gotta
Travis Scott
glaze a
appears,
network.
boys. Fiend.
Gotta glaze a network. And he says that you keep lining up the vision, I'll keep knocking him down. I'm gonna walk out of there as champion. And then he is confronted from the stage by Paul Heyman and the Vision. And CM Punk is ready to fight all of them. He sends Braun Breaker down. He sends Bronson Reed down. They beat up CM Punk. And there is no one to save Unk tonight because Jey Uso is too busy crashing out, and Jimmy Uso is nowhere to be found. So
Imagine if The Rock shows up at the January 5th Raw.
he's not the Rock anymore. He's the Pebble.
The Pebble. Oh man. He just like comes out to the ring and just says some stuff about Netflix and then fucks off. He doesn't even announce a match or whatever. He doesn't even say anything about last year's WrestleMania. He just comes on just like, "Thank you, Netflix."
It's crazy he never got like a final match per se. Like, what was his last match? It was probably like versus Cody Rhodes, right? Or with Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, at 40.
It was the tag.
40.
Yeah, it was a tag team match between him. So Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes versus The Rock and Roman Reigns. Yeah, that was his last match.
Yeah.
I could see him coming back. You know, I think the reason he went off the roids was because he had some sort of health issue. I could see him coming back possibly, like maybe if not next year, the year after, for his retirement tour, and potentially having a last match. I don't think they'll do it like John Cena because The Rock is much more of a Hollywood icon than he is in wrestling versus John Cena, where John Cena is much more known for wrestling than he is in Hollywood.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I do think that The Rock wants to win the majority of his matches, so it's gonna be interesting to how they booked around that for his retirement tour if it does happen. But yeah, I don't know. January 5th Raw, it's probably gonna be a bunch of Netflix pandering. All the actors, all the people from Netflix will be there. All the people from Warner Brothers will be there. All the executives. They'll be looking at this and saying, "Really? This is the company that acquired us? Or will acquire us, I should say?" Oh. But, alright. Yeah. So where do you think Jey Uso goes here? You said that he's crashing out and all that. Where do you think this goes?
I have him interfering in the main event.
Okay.
Or whatever the hell it is.
Never mind. I will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, fine. We'll move on then to
the women's IC title match between Maxxine Dupri and Ivy Nile. I think Maxxine holds on to this one. Ivy Nile challenged her to a fight this week. I think it was last week on Raw. I think that she holds on to it. I think Maxxine holds on to it probably until WrestleMania, where someone takes it off of her, maybe a Lash Legend if she ends up actually being good. But yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Moving on, I guess, to
Raquel and Roxanne versus Bailey and Lyra. This is a follow-up from last week. So what happened was I think it was Rio versus the Kabuki Warriors. No, it was Alexa and Charlotte versus Kabuki Warriors, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I think what happened was who was it? What the fuck? It was so overbooked, the ending of last Raw. So it was those two teams fighting. I think that I think it was that
we also had Alexa Bliss versus Kairi Sane on SmackDown.
Yes. So what happened last week is I think Nia Jax ran in and took out Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, I think. And then Lyra and Bailey came out to save them.
And then the Judgment Day.
And then the Judgment Day came in and cleared house, yes.
Yes.
So this is the follow-up to that. I'm explaining as to why this seems random. This is the follow-up to main event of last Raw. And I think this ends in probably the same fashion. I don't know where we go from this because we already had War Games. So I don't know where this goes. Probably to like a tournament for the number one contendership for the women's tag team titles. So
Okay. Who do you think? Did you say the number one contenders?
no,
Or
probably this ends in like a tournament for the number one contendership for the women's tag team titles or something like that.
all right, who do you think the number one contenders are?
I could see it going back to the Judgment Day,
Okay.
and then maybe something happens to Roxanne. She gets like a kayfabe injury, and then Liv stubs in, and then that's how Roxanne gets ejected from the group. But I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
It just seems very odd to me that Liv, who was very much protective of her spot in the group and of Dom and of her relationship with Raquel, is just fucking chill with Roxanne, like taking her spot for her for so many months.
I honestly thought that she would like address that on the Raw after Survivor Series, but I guess no.
And she was just completely fine with it.
Well,
She was just completely fine with it, and I was like, okay, sure.
some
I
people
guess
are
we're
saying,
never gonna address this.
yeah, some people are saying this might be a ruse, and that at some point Liv Morgan is going to betray Roxanne Perez and kick her out of the group, and that she's just like playing this up as like to make us think that we're on Roxanne and Liv's like they're friends, but they're actually not because Liv hatched a plan, I guess, to kick Roxanne out. That's what some people are saying. That she's working us, bro. She's working us. But I don't know. I honestly think that that's a plot hole, I should say. But I don't know. They might address it at some point. But yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap it up with the main event, which is
A Gunther promo. Gunther comes out, talks about John Cena. He says John Cena may have been the greatest in-ring performer of all time, but Gunther is currently the greatest in-ring wrestler in the company. So Gunther is going to beat John Cena. He's going to retire John Cena how he retired Goldberg. He is interrupted by L.A. Knight, who comes out, and L.A. Knight congratulates Gunther on winning his spot. And he says that, it came up short, but, we're going to be back. And then he is attacked by one Jey Uso, who comes out of the crowd and basically super kicks LA Knight, and they have a short little fight, and that's how the Raw goes off the air. Why do I think LA Knight comes out for this humiliation ritual? Well, my man just tapped out last night, so I don't see how he can get any lower than he already is. So might as well have him complete the full humiliation ritual and become a jobber, where he will job out to Jey Uso as his first feud enemy. Unfortunately, and that's how this goes off the air.
I mean, they could turn LA Knight heel, but like, why? Why would you turn him heel at this point?
He's already a jobber, so
yeah. I don't know. I guess I think something tells me that they have something up for LA Knight after this tournament, considering how much they pushed him until the finals. So they probably have something lined up for him. Maybe on the SmackDown side. Maybe he feuds with Aleister Black after Aleister Black is done with freaking Damian Priest or something. But yeah, I think LA Knight would benefit going back to Raw and just going after the Intercontinental Championship and just go on that run. But yeah, so you think LA Knight is going to feud with Jey Uso? I mean, how long would this feud be? And
maybe a month.
A month?
Maybe like a month, I would say, yeah.
And
yeah.
And you think that Jey Uso will come out this better than LA Knight, considering that Jey Uso will win, like the sort of final match of this rivalry.
Yeah, I think Jey Uso wins it. You can't have him turn heel and then lose his first feud. Yes.
Well, I, there are some times where that happens, but probably not with Jey Uso. He's kind of higher up on that pole. So, well, if this does happen, we better not see him do a bunch of super kicks, a bunch of spears that look trash, to be honest. Big Justice can do a better spear than you, Jey Uso, just saying. Friggin' yeah, the Jey Uso better be mixing up his moveset when he turns heel. That's what I'm saying. But anyway, that is what we have for the show. And as I said earlier, we are going to be watching the actual next episode of Monday Night Raw. And then we'll score our predictions and bookings, and then come back here to tell you what we get. And we do this whole booking and prediction shenanigans all over again. So until then, thank you so much for ordering a pepperoni pizza called Probably Next Week on Raw from Grapperinos. And remember, if you are down for some fresh, oven-baked, crispy wrestling content, stop on by Grapperinos and order yourself some content you can grapple with. See you next time, Grapperinos.